Good afternoon and thanks for joining us on the news at 3 on Mitv. I am Odupe Shiremeko. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has arrived at Akure Airport at 10:54 a.m. for the second National Council of Niger Delta meeting. There was tight security at the airport and the venue of the meeting provided by the police, army, civil defense corps, and road marshal, among others. Osinbajo, who would deliver the keynote address at the event and later meet with communities of riverside areas of Ondo State, was accompanied by the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Usani Usani, who was received on arrival by Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. Also on the Vice President entourage were the Minister of State, Niger Delta Affairs, Professor Claudius Daramola, and Senator Victor Udoma, Chairman, Niger Delta Development Commission. Others at the airport to receive the Vice President were the Speaker on the State House of Assembly, Mr. Bamidele Oleologun, Secretary to the State Government, Ifedayo Abegunde, and other government officials. The non-academic staff union of universities has joined other academic union counterparts on an indefinite industrial action. The visit by our August State correspondent Murtala Ademo reviewed that academic and non-academic activities at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, on Monday were grounded. Speaking with newsman, National Public Relations Officer of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, says governments must be willing and ready to engage stakeholders in the university system or education sector. It says the federal government has not done enough to keep their own end of the agreement. On the spot, Chairman, Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities, FUNAP Chapter, Olajide Odujo, says the compliance is total, saying there is no going back until all demands are met. Going forward to Osun State, where operative of the Department of State Security Service, DSS, battered some journalists at the State House of Assembly while their mobile phones were equally smashed. The journalists were on their official duty at the Assembly to cover a solidarity procession in support of local government autonomy when the incident happened. Correspondent Abbas Okondeji reports that one of the journalists, Timothy Agbo, of the Point newspaper, said he was accosted by a female operative, Taiwo Faloye, who could not be identified as she was not in uniform or armed. According to Agbo, the lady queried his mission at the Assembly and he identified himself as a journalist. It said the female DSS operative later called in another colleague who was heavily drunk to drag him to an unknown place. Agbo added that his resistance towards the unwarranted molestation made the two operatives to brutalize him and smash his mobile phone. Another online reporter, Toba Ajishafe, suffered the same fate. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, in Osun State, Abiodun Olalere, has condemned the act in strong terms. In continuation of the war against terrorism in the northeastern parts of the country, the Nigerian Air Force says it has destroyed more structures in Borno used by Boko Haram insurgents as meeting points. The Nigerian Air Force announced this in a statement issued by Air Commodore Olatukubo Adesoya, the Director of Public Relations and Information, NAF headquarters in Abuja on Tuesday. Adesoya explained that on the fourth day of an ongoing intensive bombardment of the insurgents' hideouts in Sambiso General Area, the Air Force conducted air interdiction on Boko Haram settlement in Njimia on September 10. The director said the attacks were designed to further break the will and capability of the insurgents to regroup against the Air Force. Reports say that some buildings used by the insurgents in Borno, especially in the Sambiso General Area, had earlier been destroyed by the military in a newly launched operation. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, firing stories, to stay with us. And now to foreign news. The United Nations has imposed a fresh round of sanctions on North Korea, restricting oil imports and banned textile exports after its sixth and largest nuclear test, an attempt to starve the country of fuel and income for its weapons programs. The U.S. had originally proposed harsher sanctions, including a total ban on oil imports, and the UN vote was only passed unanimously after polling allies Russia and China agreed to the reduced measures. The sanctions, which were passed at the UN Security Council on Monday, were met with anger by North Korea. There are indications that if the U.S. did eventually push through harsher sanctions, North Korea would absolutely make sure that the U.S. pays due price. Going further, about 6.5 million homes in Florida, two-thirds of total, are without power after Hurricane Irma cuts a deadly path through the state as relief operation gets underway, while engineers battle to restore power, but many areas remain stranded. The islands of the Florida Keys and western parts of the U.S. state bore the brunt of the Category 4 hurricane after Irma hit Florida on Sunday and weakened to a tropical storm before becoming a tropical depression early on Tuesday. The National Hurricane Center said in a statement the storm was downgraded and it's moved north towards Atlanta with maximum sustained wind of 56 kilometers per hour later recorded. Also, Syrian army reinforcement has arrived in Deir ez-Zor for a new push against ISIL as the second day of airstrikes reportedly killed 19 civilians in the area. Since 2014, ISIL has controlled most of the Deir ez-Zor city and the surrounding province, which border territory the armed group owed in Iraq. The remaining 40% of the city is held by the government and home to about 100,000 civilians was under a crippling ISIL siege. Backed by Russian air power, government troops have breached ISIL's siege, captured the strategic Jabal Thadan region, and expanded control to half of Deir ez-Zor city. Deir ez-Zor city is the capital of oil-rich eastern province of the same name, regarded as a strategic prize by both Russian-backed Syrian troops and U.S.-backed fighters. Let's take this final break. Up next, Sport News. So stay with us. And going to the world of sports, Sierra Leone have crashed out of a waffle. That's the West African Football Union Nations Cup after they were silenced 2-0 by Nigeria at the Cape Coast Stadium. The Super Eagles started the game on a sluggish note as they allowed their opponent to take the pace. Second half strike from Osa Socorro and Peter Nidre, however, were all the Super Eagles needed to subdue the unyielding Leon Star, who gave a good account of themselves. And finally, you spot various centers across Europe come alive tonight as the 2016-2017 season of the highly lucrative UEFA Champions League kicks off tonight. 1919 champions Manchester United begin the campaign at the Old Trafford, where they play host to FC Basel of Switzerland. Scottish Giants, Glasgow Rangers, are at home to French rivals PSG, while 2013 holders Bayern Munich keep a date with Anderlecht, just as Barcelona seek revenge against Juventus, who knocked them out in quarter-final stage last season. Chelsea face FK Karabakh and Atletico Madrid are to Italy to confront AS Roma. On Wednesday, Liverpool have won home advantage to secure maximum points when they face Sevilla. Manchester City away to Turkey to be guest of Feyenoord. Real Madrid begin the title defense against Apol Nicosia at the Santiago Bernabeu. Tottenham Hotspur slug it out with Borussia Dortmund. 2004 champions FC Porto entertain Besiktas. And with that, we get to end the news at 3. Join us at 6 for another news bulletin. My name is Modupe Shiremekon. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon.